guys, this is Diamond from Tetrarch, and I'm here with Premier Guitars Big 5. My favorite guitar is actually my E2. It's my brand new ESP guitar that they sent me probably like 4 or 5 months ago. It is my E2 Black Natural Burst. It's a beautiful guitar. It's like full thickness. My very first like real guitar, like not first guitar in general, but my very first real guitar was like a Gibson Les Paul Standard, and I had been playing that from the time I was like 13 until about like 7 or so years ago when I joined ESP, 6 years ago maybe. So I was always really like into super like heavy weighted guitars, like thick bodied guitars, which is so like contradictory to what any like shredder like wants. Usually they want like a lighter guitar, or they want like something with like really easy access to higher frets. Of course I'm weird. Nothing about me is normal, so obviously. So I really just always have liked the Les Paul style guitars, and I've always liked guitars that kind of fight me back. So I really like this E2 because it is a full thickness. It kind of has that classic Les Paul feel and shape to it. But unfortunately, when we were filming our last video in Atlanta a couple months ago, I slipped on one of the props and fell and busted the neck, and there was a huge crack in it. So I had to take it to ESP when I got back home to LA, and they're still fixing it. Now that reminds me that it's been like 2 months of it being there, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that might not be going too well. But that is my favorite guitar. But other than that, I really love all of my like Eclipse style guitars. So like this one that I have here, it's probably my second favorite. It's a dark brown Sunburst that I got from ESP as well, probably like 2 years ago. My favorite part of this is most of the guitars that I'm adapting now have the Evertune bridge on it. And for me, like I know a lot of people are very weird about the Evertune bridges, especially like in metal too. They're very picky about tone, and they're like, oh, I don't know about the Evertune. But for me, I love it because we drop tunes so much now. We play in drop A and we play in drop B, and on a 6 string that's pretty low. But I also play leads, so like I need like kind of smaller strings, so the Evertune helps me do that. It helps me be able to keep that tension in my strings, but I can also like still use, like I think on this guitar right now I have 11s. They might be 10s, but I think it's 11 through 54 on here, which is still pretty small for like that tuning, especially since we're not on 7 strings. We like to keep 6 strings. I put 5766 EMGs in them. I usually go back and forth between 5766 and 8185, but this one has 5766. My Desert Island album, mine's gonna be really cliche, and I'm sure people are gonna hate me for it, but mine would probably be the Black Album by Metallica. And I say that because it's such a well-rounded album. It's my favorite band, obviously, but it's such a well-rounded album. And you have some, like literally you're stuck on a desert island. You need a song for every mind state that you're going to go through when you're stuck on this island. So if I'm missing family and I'm sad, I got nothing else matters or something like that. If I, am feeling like triumphant about this situation and I'm like, you know what, I can make this work. We're going to do wherever I may roam, if I want to go hunt for food or something, I don't know, we'll throw on Don't Tread on Me. It's just like you got something for every emotion on that record. And it's just it's a great, well-rounded album. You got leads, you get solos, you have great vocals, hooky songs, everything I like in heavy music and music in general. So I'd probably have to pick the Black Album by Metallica. I would say my biggest guitar culture pet peeve would probably be the idea that technicality makes guitar players better or worse. So I know that that's like a double-edged sword, and you want to be as good technically of a guitar player as you can be. Like, who doesn't? But I think we've gotten to this point because there's so many guitar players in the world now, and like there are so many, like you can go to YouTube and find so many just amazing guitar players that you're like, oh my god, this kid's in his room, he's slaying it. But coming up, my favorite guitar players were like Zakk Wylde and Dimebag Darrell and Kirk Hammett and Slash. Guitar players that now there's probably some kids in their room that could kick these dudes' ass, like technically, But for me, it's not all about that. You know, it's about being technically good, but it's about having your own style. It's about charisma and your like the character you have and just that whole package. So for me, I do hate when it's like you'll have like guitar players who are like, oh, you know, they can't sweep up and down the fretboard all day long and I'll do all this stuff. And, you know, Kirk Hammett sucks, you know, like you hear that all the time, or, you know, whatever, I'm better than Dimebag, or like all sorts of stuff you hear people say. But it's not just about that. It's about like that whole package that they bring to the culture, to the scene, their attitude, their personality, their playing style, you know, maybe some special technique that they do that a lot of guitar players don't do. So I know it's kind of a small and a weird thing, but I think that would be it for me because it's something that I had to learn, you know, like I remember Josh, when I was coming up as a guitar player, I would be shredding and I was like a really good guitar player pretty young, you know, not like in a conceited way, but for my age, I was pretty good. And I remember like one time I just kind of got deflated because like I saw there were so many tech players coming up at the time. And I was like, man, like I'm just like, I didn't grow up. Like those weren't my guitar heroes. Like Necrophag just wasn't my guitar hero. You know, those weren't my guitar heroes. So like I didn't learn to play to those guys. But so I was like, man, am I bad? You know, like, am I a bad guitar player? Josh was like, you're not a bad guitar player. Like I remember somebody, you know, said to like one time somebody said to our bass player, like this is when we were kids now. They were like, she plays too much. Like her solos sound like Kurt Hammett. And I took that as a negative thing. And I'm like, oh man, am I not technical enough? Am I not? And it took me a while to learn, you know, that like, it's not always all about that. And like Josh had told me one day, he's like, you know what? Like, just be Diamond, like play like Diamond, be who you are. And like, I swear, as soon as I adapted that and stopped trying to like compare myself to every technically amazing guitar player in the world, it's when just like crazy shit started happening, you know, for me and for Tetrarch, just embracing like who we are. So I know that's a long answer for a very simple thing, but yeah, I would say that just like I feel like it's relative, like what a really good guitar player is. Don't get me wrong, I am probably one of the most competitive people, and that's where like in the world, like I will compete. I tell people all the time, like I see like a 7-year-old prodigy on YouTube and I'm like, oh my God, like this dude is like 7 and I'm just like, I'm coming for you, you know. It's friendly competition, like I don't mean anything by it, but I've just always been so competitive. I've always been into like sports and stuff like that coming up, so I've always just been super competitive at everything. I just want to be the best all the time. Sometimes you can't be, but I just want to be the best all the time. So like I compete with everybody, so it's something that I have to like naturally turn off in my head. What guitar hero of mine would shock people? As I think back to maybe some stuff that I listened to as I was getting into guitar, players that I loved and admired, I guess one that comes to mind is David Gilmour, which is, you know, very like not like what we play, but I did listen to a lot of Pink Floyd when I was younger. I've never seen it or heard anyone play guitar like that could put that much feeling into one note. Like I just like if you listen to even like the Comfortably Numb solo, you can get lost in it. And that is something that I think every guitar player wants to learn to embody at some point. We don't all figure it out. I feel like it's a soul thing almost. Like you just have to kind of have that in your spirit to be able to do that. But he's a phenomenal player. Even just like I used to watch some of his like live DVDs when I was younger, and just there's not a lot of like just guitar playing music that I listen to, like just like listening to just instrumental guitar music. But he's somebody that he literally can like take you on a journey, like listening to his music. So I would pick him as one, just because of like the feeling that he puts into his music is just pretty insane. And like you listen to Pink Floyd and you can always pick him out. There's just something in his spirit and in his soul that comes through that guitar that's just magical. What is my secret weapon? I would say for me, like if we didn't go the physical route of any kind of gear, it would be my versatility as a player, in the sense of like, I think that like, and like it's weird to say this because I hate like talking about myself and be like, I think I'm pretty good at this, but I think versatility as a player, when it comes to like, if I need to be like a solid rhythm player, I can do that. If I need to add, you know, a lot of textual things onto a song, whether I need to make it sound kind of creepy or I need to make it sound happy and energetic, or, you know, whatever, I can do that. Or if it needs a shred solo, I can do that. And I think that's really cool, and something that can be kind of missed sometimes, because you see so many players, like, they'll be so technical, and then you ask them to play Smells Like Teen Spirit and they play it and it's like kind of sounds off. And I'm like, that's interesting. But it's not because they can't play power chords, it's just because like that's not what they usually do. So for me, I think that's cool. Like, you know, if I have to get up there and play Green Day, I can play Green Day, you know, or if I have to go play Megadeth, I can do that. And I think that's really cool to be able to do, and that's something I'm proud of. I've always wanted to be known as being able to do that since I started playing guitar, is like being, you know, flexible and like being able to serve songs well and stuff like that. So I would definitely say versatility for me is a secret weapon. And then if I had to go and I'm gonna break the rules and pick something else physical. Nowadays, in the last like year, it's been my whammy, my Digitech whammy. I'm just, you know, if you listen to our album, it's all over the place. People would think that I like just found that pedal, and I'm like like a 12-year-old. But it's been really cool to just throw them into like solos and like unconventional spots that you wouldn't usually, even if it's like a rhythm of a song or something like that. Stuff like that has been super cool. So and a lot of people have been like, you know, if you look at our videos and stuff, they're like, is that a whammy? Like, they hear it all over the place. So if I had to pick something physical, it'd probably be that these days.